Okay, we got the goal for this Tuesday, September 29th. We want to welcome you to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host again today for this program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, or check out the new batch of featured programs coming up in our TV online studio at IndianCountryTV.com. That starts on October 1st. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Snoqualmie Tribe has voted to reinstate 9 members banished after an election dispute in early 2008. The Seattle Times reports that those banished waited outside the Evergreen State Fairgrounds Longhouse in Monroe for 5 hours until finally the tribe welcomed them inside and cheers this last Saturday. A federal judge earlier this year partially overturned the banishment, stating that the tribe had not followed due process. The membership was tasked with reconsidering the banishment this last Saturday. The tribe, which regained federal recognition in 1999, has been mired in election disputes and the banishment dispute for much of the past 2 years, even as it faces serious operational and budget problems. Members of the Spirit Lake Sioux Tribe who oppose the University of North Dakota's Fighting Sioux nickname say they will seek reversal of a tribal council resolution they say supports the moniker. Eric Longi says the opponents plan to meet with the council members and ask them where they get the authority to give UND perpetual permission to use the nickname. The State Board of Higher Education has voted to abolish UND's nickname and Indian head logo unless it gets a 30-year agreement from the state's 2 Sioux tribes by October 1st. The Standing Rock Tribal Council has refused to approve a reservation vote on it, but an April vote on the Spirit Lake Reservation found a majority in support. The council last week then passed a resolution confirming those results. Longi says the Spirit Lake opponents do not believe the council can give perpetual permission. He says future councils should be able to issue new resolutions opposing the nickname if they need to. The University of Southern Mississippi is diversifying its academic offerings with new courses in research in American Indian cultures. Tammy Greer, a member of the United Huma Nation tribe of southeastern Louisiana and director of the New American Indian Research and Studies Center, says a minor in American Indian Studies will be available in the year 2010. Currently, there are 28 state and federally funded tribes in the southeast. University officials, tribal leaders, and the Choctaw students gathered this last weekend to dedicate the center, which will be in the basement of McCain Library on USM's main campus in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Minneapolis Star-Tribune article today by Kurt Brown reads, Bill Lawrence of the Red Lake Chippewa never flinched from scrutinizing Minnesota's tribal governments, even when someone fired bullets through his newspaper's office windows in Bemidji, Minnesota. But a battle with late-stage cancer has prompted Lawrence to fold the Native American press, Ojibwe News, after 21 years. I'm no longer physically able to do the task, computer searches, investigating, seeking ads that are necessary to put out an edition, he wrote in his recent final edition under an editorial titled A Good Day to Die. His failing health and the difficult publishing environment in the United States and around the world, quote, make it impossible for me to continue, unquote. Lawrence, 70 years old, is receiving hospice care in Sun Valley, Idaho, where he is surrounded by close friends and family. Since starting his newspaper in 1988, Lawrence has engaged in relentless legal efforts to open the books of the state's 11 tribal casinos. His tireless work as a watchdog helped send several prominent tribal chairmen and leaders to prison. Among his final works was a definitive series on the effects of fetal alcohol syndrome in the Native community. The Rocky Boys Reservation in northern Montana will use $12.3 million federal grant to help build a new justice center. The facility will house an adult jail, a juvenile detention center, and the police headquarters. The project will cost a total of $13.4 million. The tribe will provide money that the federal grant doesn't cover. Although the location for the center has not been determined, tribal officials says groundbreaking will take place within 6 months and the facility will be open within 3 years. Since 2001, the police headquarters and the jail have been located in a building that was originally designed as a fire station after the old jail was closed because of sanitary and security problems. The University of Wyoming American Indian Studies program is working with the Eastern Shoshone Tribe to create a database of the Eastern Shoshone language. The program recently received a $200,000 National Science Foundation grant to fund the 2-year projects. American Indian Studies Program Director Judith Antel says the database will include digital recordings of word sample phrases and sentences, transcriptions of the digital recordings, and English translations. A linguistic anthropologist and a panel of Eastern Shoshone elders will contribute to the project. It will also incorporate previous audio recordings and written records of the language. Copies of the database will be preserved by the Eastern Shoshone Tribe and by UW's American Heritage Center. And if that story sounds familiar, as it does to me, I think we've read it before, just in case you missed it the first time around. So with that, that is the latest roundup of this news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you all for joining with us again.